Good evening. Wednesday evening yoga. Next 45 minutes. Let's wait for some participants in the yoga studio in their own homes. There we go, welcome. Anton, Greg, how's it? Thanks for joining. Wait a little minute or two. Hello, welcome, Lee, L. Hello, L. Okay, I think we should get going. So, thanks very much for joining. Your yoga mat and yoga welcome you wherever you're at, whenever. All that's asked is a bit of your time, your as undivided attention as possible, and a bit of sweat. So sweat is highly revered in yogic tradition. And what's on offer in return is a positive internal shift of energy and possibly excavating or sculpting some mental clarity or polishing wherever you're at. So excavating, polishing and sculpting our minds and our bodies and our moods. Evening Mark, Fiona, welcome. So bless your sweat. I hope you enjoy the practice. Next 45 minutes or so, let's go for it. Remember full muscular energy, breathing through your nose. Most important. Mark, let's go. Okay, so come up to your knees in the middle of the mat, a little bit towards the front. Your knees are hip width apart. Hands on your hips. Actually, come onto all fours. Knees are hip width apart. The hands are beneath your shoulders. Your right leg is straight out behind you. Stretching to the heel. Lift your shoulders. Lift your ribs, just holding it there for a breath or two. Keeping it hip height. Swing your leg out 90 degrees, just holding it there for a breath or two. And then lowering your foot to the ground. Okay, you can bring your hands up to your hips. So your heel is in line with your knee. And get your foot out as far to the side as possible with a straight leg. Arms out to the side. Fingers are spread. Now you're pressing down into that kneeling knee. Lifting the shoulders up, breathing through the nose. That leg that's out to the side, press back into the thigh. Press the thigh back into the hamstrings. Arms go towards the ceiling, palms are facing each other. Now you're rooting down into the knee, you're stretching up to the tips of the hands. That sideways leg is pressing backwards. Breathing through the nose. Prayer position. Keep pressing back with that side leg. And then hands down, shoulder width apart. Leg behind you, parallel to the mat again. And down, back to neutral. So your knees and your hands are hip width apart or shoulder width apart. Left leg straight out behind you, foot's facing the ground. Root back into the heel. Keep your shoulders lifting. Ribs are lifting, holding it there for a breath or so. Keep breathing through the nose, leg goes out to the side, staying hip height. And then lower it to the ground. Hands come up to your hips. Check the alignment, so your heel is in line with the knee. And the legs as far out as possible, kind of. Hands on your hips. And then arms out to the side, spread your fingers. Rooting down into that kneeling knee. That left leg's pressing back, pressing the thigh back. Arms up. Stretching up. Pressing back with that left thigh. Prayer position. Hands down, leg out behind you, parallel to the mat. And then down to kneeling. Okay, move your knees a bit further back on the mat, wide apart, toes are touching, and then sink down. Sink your groins down between your legs. You come up onto your fingertips, your elbows and shoulders are lifting. And you're stretching from your hips all the way through to your wrists, lengthening out the back of your back. Sink your belly down, try and soften your hip structure. Okay, back up to all fours. Tuck your toes. Your hips are above your knees. Your shoulders are pressing forward, lengthening your torso. Keeping that, keep the shoulders pressing forward. Straighten your legs, press your thighs back, downward dog. Pull your hips back away from your wrists. Stretch the mat forward with your hands. So you're using the traction of the mat to lift your hips up like an A-frame. It's like a piked position. You can be on flat-soled feet, or you can go into high tiptoes and drive your heels as high as possible. Whatever feels nice. Walk your feet together in the center of the mat. Now with a straight leg, lift your right leg up. Your leg's an extension of your body, one long line. Try and get your alignment as healthy as possible. Lifting that top heel higher. Foot down next to the other one, other leg up, left leg up. Reaching up into the heel. Getting the heel as high as possible. Breathing through the nose. Foot down. Now slowly, many steps, walk up the center line of the mat. When you get to the top, your feet are hip width apart. Using the first 2 fingers on each hand, grab your big toe. So your toe is pressing down on the first 2 fingers. Now lift your shoulders, press your thighs back. Shoulders are pulling up and forward. Thighs are pressing back, hips are pulling back. Holding it here, breathing through the nose. Hands on your hips, bend your knees, reach forward with the arms. Hands on the hips, up you come. Nice. You can adjust the alignment so I don't poke out at the top of the screen. Welcome Jean-Marc and Klaus. I hope you're sweating together. Feet are 45 degrees apart at the top of the mat in a kind of a sumo squat, a horse squat. Get your hips down knee height. Wrists are resting on your knees. Your torso is above your hips as much as possible. Hands on your head. That right elbow to the right knee. Other one's pointing towards the ceiling. Back up to center. Left elbow over to the left knee. Back up to center. Hands are on the mat beneath your shoulders. Turn your feet parallel to the side of the mat. I'm just going to jump back slightly and tiptoe your hands as far forward as you can get. Pulling your hips back, stretching forward to the fingertips. Shoulders are lifting. Hands on your hips, up you come. Okay, we're still in a wide stance. Our feet are parallel to the mat, arms out to the side. It's like a star jump. Press into the feet as if you were stretching the floor apart. Arms out to the side, and you increase the distance from fingertip to fingertip. Arms up. Drive down into the soles of the feet and reach everything up, hips up, shoulders up, hands up. It's kind of traction, self-induced traction. Okay, now knees are bending forward parallel to the side of the mat. So your knees must stay wide. Prayer. Your elbows and wrists are the same height. Fingers are spread broadly. The middle finger is vertical. Elbows on the knees. Hands are beneath the shoulders. Now step the left foot back as far as you can go. So you're in a front lunge. Your front foot, that right foot, is off to the side of the mat. The back foot is pulling far back. So your left foot is back, your right arm is forward. The opposite arm to the leg, so you're stretching asymmetrically through the hip structure here. Pull back with the heels, stretch forward to the fingertips. Now that arm goes towards the sky, that back thigh is pressing up. Hips are lifting, drive upwards, pressing the thigh into the back of the hamstrings. Top hand down, step forward with the left foot, back with the right. So your front left foot, your knee is over your ankle, back foot's far apart, far back, and there's quite a separation between the front foot and the back foot along this axis of the mat. Left arm forward. Check that back foot, it's vertical, the heel is above the toe box. You're stretching from the heel to your fingertips. Now that front arm goes up, back thigh drives up into the hamstrings, look up. Hips are lifting. Top hand down, step forward, knees are wide apart and parallel to the mat. Reach your arms forward, so you're going to squat, hands on the hips, up you come. Good work. Catch your breath, breathing through your nose. Feet are still off the side of the mat, quite wide. Feet are parallel. Arms out to the side, stretching up. Knees bent, so it's a wide kneed Utkatasana, wide chair pose. Attempting, or it's natural that your curved spine does this. If you can pull your belly button back and try and get your arms back so everything is above your hips. Prayer. Elbows to the knees. Fingertips down beneath the shoulders. Again, same again. Step your right foot back, big distance. This time, right arm goes forward. So it's the same leg, same arm, extending the full right side from heel to fingertips. That front knee is over the ankle. Quite intense. Just another breath or two. Now drop the back heel to the ground, top arm goes up. Side angle pose. Maybe that bottom hand is next to your foot. Stretching everything as high as you can get it. Top hand down, step forward with that right foot, back with the left. Left arm forward. Back heel down, that front left arm goes up. Hand down, step forward, feet are wide apart on the side of the mat, arms reaching forward, hands on your hips, up you come. Good, we're working those hips. Catch your breath through your nose. Same again, arms out to the side, arms up, knees bent. Hands down beneath the shoulders. Now this time step back to a plank with both legs. Fingers are spread. Hands are wide apart, wider than the shoulders, full power grip. Your body is as straight as it can be. Okay, lower the knees to the ground. You're on the tops of the feet. Pull your shoulders back, chest pressing forward. Lift your thighs, knees are off the ground. Upward dog. Neck is relaxed. It's exaggerated, the chest is pressing forward like a pigeon. Back onto all fours. Tuck your toes, straighten your legs. Downward dog, 5 breaths. On the inhale, stretch, pulling the hips back. On the exhale, keep your length. On the inhale, can you drive more? Traction in the mat. Hips pressing back. Focusing on your breath. Quiet for the next 3 breaths. Okay, high tip toes. Bend your knees, jump forward. Bend your knees, reach forward with the arms. Hands on your hips. Up you come. Cool. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, prayer position. Bend your knees slightly and step your right foot back quite far. And you're facing the front. The front knee's over the ankle, that back foot's quite far. Back. You're leaning forward in a prayer position. Now your arms are out to the side. Your shoulders are above your hips. It's kind of warrior 1 legs. So the front knee is over the ankle. The back sole of the foot is flat, but the foot's at 45 degrees. Arms up. That back right thigh, that right hip, pulling vigorously back, rotating the hip structure. We're in a prayer again. Now we're leaning forward where our torso and neck is an extension of our leg. Bend the back knee, step forward. Stay in a prayer. Knees are bent slightly. Other side, left foot back, big distance. Front knee is bent over the ankle. Back foot's quite far back. You're leaning forward. And then arms out to the side and up. Left hip is pulling vigorously back. Prayer. Leaning forward. Step forward. Good. Feet are together. Arms on the side of your body. Mountain pose. It's basically standing tall. Feet are rooting down into the ground. Equally, this line to the top of your head is lengthening. If there was a book on the top of your head, you'd be pressing the book upwards. Shoulders are relaxed on the side of the body. Focus on your breath and get it smooth. Okay, next inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, pull the hips back, fingertips to the ground with a flat back. Bend the knees, jump back to a plank. Okay. We're in a plank pose. On the next exhale, keep your elbows alongside your body and bend them. Down to a press up position. Press up. Roll over the tops of the feet, upward dog. Hips pressing forward, shoulders back, chest forward. Upward dog. Back onto all fours. Tuck your toes, downward dog. Thighs driving backwards like giant levers. Tiptoe your feet together in the center of the mat. You're on high tip toes with both feet. Right leg reaches up, reaching up into that heel. On the next exhale, knee to forward. Inhale, leg back up to the sky. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Inhale, back up to the sky. And then right knee to the opposite left elbow. Back up. Leg down next to the other foot. Both feet are in the center of the mat. Heels are lifted. Left leg up. Reaching up into the heel. Exhale, knee to forward. Inhale up. Left knee, left elbow. Inhale up. Left knee, right elbow across. Inhale up. Feet down. Knees down wide apart. Hips down, child's pose. Not for long. Your forearms are parallel to each other. Your fingers are spread broadly. Shoulders are above the elbows. Tuck your feet. Straighten the legs, driving the thighs back, pulling the shoulders back. Dolphin pose. It's like a downward dog on our forearms. You're probably on tiptoes. Pull the hips further back if you can. Pulling the shoulders back. Tiptoe your feet together. Right leg up, reaching up into the heel. Foot down next to the other one. Other leg up. As high as you can get it. Really pull that hip up and back. Foot down, knees down, child's pose. Okay, back up to all fours. Downward dog. Now turn on the outside edge of your left foot and your right foot stacks on top of it. We're going into a side cross. So basically our body's across. Stack everything above your left wrist, your left shoulder, right hand, either looking to the side or down. Hips are lifting vigorously. Fingers are spread for stability. Toes are spread and lifting. Activating the feet gives you surprising stability. Hand down next to the other one. Roll over onto the other side. We're on the outside edge of our right foot. Left foot's on top. Stabilize and stack. The more you activate, the more you'll make like a rigid cross structure. Be quite stable. Hands down. Walk forward to the front of the mat. Feet are hip width apart. This time, place your hands underneath the front of your feet if you can. So your 4 fingers are underneath your 4 toes. Your thumbs are above your big toe. And the ball of your foot is kind of spilling off your fingers. Strange position for your feet to be on your hands like this. Pressing vigorously down with the ball box of your feet. Toe box, ball of your toe. Elbows are pressing forward. It's a forward bend. It's kind of like quite of a primate-y position this, but it's an interesting forward bend. Keep your neck relaxed. Stay here and breathe. Look inwards. You're looking back in with your own body here, in at yourself. Spend some time here. Doesn't matter if you're not far into the pose, wherever you're at, hang at that position and breathe. Deepen into it, slowly soften. Okay, you can release the hands, bend the knees, hands on the hips. Up you come. Just checking in. We still got battery power and human power. Excellent. Right, some standing poses again. We're up at the front of the mat. We're on the descent, we're more than halfway. Feet are together in the center of the mat. Step your right foot back, big distance. The front knee is over the ankle. That back foot's as far back as you can get it. And that foot bisects the back foot, so you're on the same line. Hands on your hips. If you were getting squashed between 2 planes of glass, you'd be getting narrower because your hips would be rotating. So that back hip is pulling back. That back thigh is pulling back, pressing into the back of your hamstrings. Arms are parallel to the mat. Fingers are spread. Shoulders are above the hips. Warrior 2. We're lined up in that one plane. Back hand on the back leg, sliding it down. Front hand up. Stretching up, stretching the back with that back hand. Both hands up. Front hand on the knee. Stretching up with this top hand. And now going down on the inside of that shin with this front hand. Fingertips touch the ground. Other hand reaching up. Full side angle pose. Now we're going to go into an interesting one. Top hand down. We're on the ball of the back foot. Inner elbow down. And the other elbow down too. Elbows are down on the ground if possible. That right thigh is lifting. That back leg is lifting up. Everything is driving up, but your elbows are stuck to the ground. Okay, back knee down. Stay in this position. Interesting pose coming up here if you want to try. That back shin, we're going to lift up. Okay, so that's my right shin. Opposite hand, left hand reaches back and grabs that foot. Now that foot starts pressing back. There's an interesting feeling happening there. And if you want to take it deeper, this front right elbow to the ground. Then press that back shin and foot back, looking up. It's kind of like you're a propeller. This is a spiral motion we're making with our body. Interesting activation here. Pressing back with that foot. Come out of it. Step forward. Bend your knees, reach forward. And come up. Okay, we better do the other side, else we'll be lopsided all evening. Feet are together. That left foot is far back. Remember the alignment? Front foot bisects the back. That foot's far back. Warrior 2. Shoulders are above the hips, fingers are spread. Hold the pose for a while. The longer you hold poses, the more grounded you'll feel during and after the practice. That is a way of cracking things open at a certain point. If you just push through a little bit longer than you would normally. Back hand sliding down that back leg, front arm reaching up. Reverse warrior. Back hand's also up. Front hand's on the knee. Now really lift with that back hand. And then reach down with the front hand. Fingertips touching on the inside of the front foot. Full side angle pose. Okay, top hand down. You're on the ball of the back foot. That inner right elbow down. And then the other one joins. Elbows are down. Hips are lifting. Not for much longer. And then drop the knee. Come up to your fingertips. Reach your right hand back and grab that left foot. Left foot starts pressing backwards. And if you want, that front left elbow goes down. Back foot's pressing back, looking up. Open up the shoulder. Develop lift. It's like a propeller driving forward in the air. Okay. Come out of it. Step forward. Bend the knees, reach forward. Hands on the hips. Up you come. A few more standing poses. A couple more. Not even a few. Just a couple more. Let's step into warrior one. So our feet are together. I'm stepping my right foot back. I'm going to shuffle forward. So warrior one, front foot's facing forward, back foot's 45 degrees, arms out to the side, and then stretching up. Feels slightly different, this warrior one to the side angle or warrior two. Now we're in a prayer. Now an interesting one, we're going to do a prayer behind our back. Okay, so arms out to the side, point your thumbs down and then to the back of the room. Join your fingertips behind your back. Fingertips are touching. And then press your fingers together until you get your palms of your hands pressing together, pulling the elbows back. Keeping the hips back, bending forward with a flat back. Front leg is straight. Hips are pulling back, lengthening to the top of the head. Kind of go to parallel to the mat, or go even further. Okay, keep leaning forward like this. Let go of the hands, right hand to the left foot. Reverse triangle pose. Other hand up to the sky. So opposite hand is on the front foot. Hips are pulling back and up, looking to the left. Drop the top hand down to meet the front foot. Back foot is 90 degrees. Other hand up. This is a front-handed triangle pose. Inhale up, step forward. Other side. Left foot back. Front foot's facing the front, arms out to the side, stretching up. Warrior one. Prayer position. Arms out to the side, thumbs down, pointing back. Prayer behind your back. Hips pulling backwards, tilting forward with a flat back. Lengthening from hips to the top of your head. Left hand to the front right foot, right hand up. Reverse triangle pose. Top hand on the front foot, other hand up. Classic triangle pose. Top hand down, step forward, hand on the hips. Up you come. So many poses that have a front side and a back side, just like racket sports or surfing. Okay, while we're warm, let's pump it a little bit. 3 sun salutes. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fingertips to the ground. Bend the knees, jump back to plank. We go all the way down to press up. Up dog. down dog. It's pulling back, not going to stay for long. Bend the knees, jump forward. Bend the knees, reach forward. Inhale up, release. Chair pose, bend the knees, arms up. Fingertips down, jump back. Press down. Up dog. Down dog. Bend the knees, jump forward. Bend the knees, reach forward. Inhale up, release. One last one. Bend the knees, reaching up. Inhale, bend forward. Bend the knees, jump back. And then knees down. Tuck your toes. Fingertips on the side of the mat. Slowly and deliberately. Chest down, chin down. You might need to move slightly forward. Big upper chest opener. Won't stay for long. Back up onto all fours. Hands on the mat. Tuck your toes. Downward dog. Okay, knees down. Right, we're going to move on to a couple of poses lying on our backs. Not much longer. So, lie on your back. Bring your feet up to your bum, where you can grab your ankles. Keeping your legs parallel, your knees are parallel, so they mustn't splay out to the side. Grab your ankles, using the strength of your legs, drive your hips up. Start rolling your shoulders underneath, tuck your shoulders underneath each other. Hips are driving up, belly button's pressing up. Chest is pressing towards the chin. Really exaggerate the lift. And then slowly come down. You can either do that same again, or this time, raise your hands above your head and place them above your shoulders, so your fingers are pointing towards your body. Try and get your elbows parallel, and also again not splayed out. Try and keep your elbows above your wrists. Using the strength of your legs, lift your hips up. And if you're ready for it, come onto the top of your head. Okay, you might want to broaden your grip with your hands just to get you more stability. You're on the top of your head, your hips are driving up. Can you stay here and breathe? If you want, you can go all the way up to full bridge, but otherwise stay here. It's almost as good as a full pose, I find. Lift the head, come down to the spine, release. Okay, arms out to the side, feet are together. Left ankle is on your right knee, the right thigh there. Using the strength of your right leg, lift the right hip up. Left hip stays the same height, so hips are the same height, driving upwards. Holding it here. Switch sides, but keeping your hips up, so now your feet are together. Right ankle at your left knee. Keep your hips up while you switch sides. Switch sides again. Once more the other side. And then down. Whew. Fish pose. Okay. Come up onto your elbows. Hands grab your hips or your bum. Tilt back. Now, if your neck's clicking, don't have any clicking or pain. If you can get your head back, and you need to kind of wiggle your way down so that your top of your head is on the mat. Broaden your shoulders. Let your arms come out to the sides. If you can, grab your thighs, move the top of your head slightly closer to your bum. When you're ready, straighten out those legs, straighten out the arms. The legs and arms are kind of 30 degrees. You stay here breathing through the nose. Not for long. It's a real throat opener. Tuck your feet, release, come out of it. And then roll up to seated. Whew. Nice. Let's have a final twist before we end off with some breathing. So that fish pose is almost a counter pose to the shoulder stand, where your throat is getting compressed in a shoulder stand, or in a fish pose it's getting stretched. But that's not to say that any pose is incomplete on its own. It doesn't need a counter pose, but there are concepts such as counter pose. Right, okay, right knee is bent, knees at the front of the mat. Left foot is hooked over the knee. Center your hips, broaden the sitting bones, pulling the shin towards you. That left hand stays pressing that left knee towards you. Right hand reaches up. Look to the left, and then hook that elbow in front of the knee. Support yourself with your left fingertips behind you on the mat. Front palm is facing open. Before you start vigorously twisting, start rooting the sitting bones down. Can you get pressed downwards with both bum bones, lengthening up to the top of your head? You want to lengthen through this twisted line. Primarily we're lengthening, and then on the exhale you start vigorously digging that elbow into the knee, but the knee's pressing back. You're twisting between your sitting bones and your shoulders. Twist vigorously on the exhale. On the inhale, lengthen, perhaps back off on the twist. Exhale, you twist. Inhale, you lengthen, and on the twist you wring out your organs. And when you've had enough, release. Switch sides. Left knee is bent, and that whole left thigh and shin is on the ground. Right foot's hooked over the knee. Right hand's pressing the knee towards me. Left arm is reaching up, hooking the elbow in front of the knee, palm facing the front. Support yourself. Twist between the sitting bones and your shoulders. Play with it. Don't go into a locked position, but come in and out of the pose. Lengthening on the inhale, twisting on the exhale. And release. Okay. A few minutes of quieter, more subtle part of the practice. All the principles are the same. Roll up your mat, give yourself a bit of extra lift. It helps you to sit more comfortably. And you want your spine to be leaving the ground facing forward, not backwards. So we want to be alert on the front of our pelvis, kind of hip structure, sitting bones. The front of your sitting bones are pressing down, but everything else is lifting. Lift all the way into the shoulders. We're breathing lift into our chest. Actively setting a mental trajectory of contentment if possible. Okayness. Softening. Ease of breath. While we practice breathing, we're actually practicing lengthening and smoothening our breath. Try and keep your attention on that process as a witness, without making any opinion about it. Just witness your breath. It's easier to focus if you make the breath intense and cold by breathing through one nostril at a time. So use the thumb and the last two fingers. It's an exhale through a nostril and an inhale through the same nostril. Exhale through the opposite nostril to blow the nostril open. Inhale through the same nostril. Okay. Block your left nostril. Inhale through your right. Switch on the exhale. Inhale through the same nostril. Exhale, switch. Inhale, same. Keep going. Keep that rhythm. Go for depth. Observe the breath. If there's any jerkiness on the exhale, that's fine. Next one slightly smoother. Stay centered and symmetrical. If you want to switch hands, that's fine. Might be nice to have your eyes closed. Go for depth, length. Doesn't matter if it's noisy right now. On the inhale, you're pulling down from the bottom of your diaphragm, giving you lift up into your chest. And on the exhale, you hold your height. Change hands if you haven't already. Keep going just for a little while longer, slightly softer, a little bit quieter. Same length of breath. Little pause on the exhale at the end and at the end of the inhale. Let go of the hands, rest them on your knees, relax your jaw. Balance your head directly on the center of the balance point. Maybe you want to tilt it back slightly. What can you observe within your body? Thank you for practicing together. I really enjoyed that. I hope you found it refreshing, and I wish you good health and a great night's sleep, and look forward to next week. Same again. Namaste. Cheers.